Okay, let's dive in. You've handed us a source today. It's titled Parenting in the Digital Age, Balancing Screen Time, Learning, and Well-Being.
Yes. And that title, it really resonates, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It just, captures that core challenge, I think, for pretty much every parent right now.
Exactly. It frames it so well, not just, screens are the enemy, but acknowledging technology is tangled up with learning.
Right.
And it impacts well-being directly. It really sets up this need for a dynamic balance.
A dynamic balance. I like that. So our mission for this deep dive is to pull out the key insights, the sort of actionable nuggets from this source.
Mm-hmm.
How do parents manage screen time effectively? How can they genuinely leverage digital tools for learning?
And crucially, how do they make sure the family's overall well-being isn't getting lost in the mix?
Yeah, in this super tech-heavy world.
Well, what's interesting is the source doesn't just state the problem and leave you hanging. It jumps into frameworks pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, right off the bat, it challenges that idea of just, a single screen time number fits all.
Okay.
Instead, it really pushes for distinguishing between, say, passive scrolling versus active creation, or connecting with family online.
So what kids are doing is key.
Exactly. The what and sometimes the who they're doing it with. The source suggests that focus is often, more impactful than just watching the clock.
That feels like a really important distinction. Less timer, more content and context.
Precisely. And it highlights practical things, too, like co-viewing media with your kids, talk about it.
Open up discussions.
Yeah, or setting up tech-free zones, maybe the dinner table or bedrooms before sleep, things like that.
Regardless of the total minutes used elsewhere.
Right. It frames screen time management more like an ongoing conversation, a negotiation almost, not just laying down rigid rules.
Okay.
And importantly, it mentions modeling healthy tech habits yourself. That's maybe one of the most powerful things.
Right. Practice what you preach. Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on from just management, the title also includes learning.
Yes.
How does the source suggest we actually use technology for learning instead of just seeing it as, the big distraction?
This is where it gets quite interesting. It points to specific ways tech can genuinely enhance learning.
Like what?
Well, things like adaptive educational apps, the ones that adjust to a child's specific pace.
Okay.
Or online resources giving access way beyond textbooks, even using video calls to connect with relatives, learn family history, different cultures.
Interesting. So it's broader than just apps.
Absolutely. And digital literacy itself is framed as a key learning goal, teaching kids how to, evaluate online info critically.
Right. And create things digitally, communicate safely.
Exactly. Those skills.
But then how does the source square that circle? Leveraging digital learning while still needing to manage the screen time aspect we just talked about.
Yeah, that's the balancing act, isn't it? The source argues they're not mutually exclusive. It suggests integrating those purposeful digital learning activities within a sort of balanced media diet.
So an example might be?
Okay, say a child's into space. Their screen time could be using a cool documentary app or maybe a VR planetarium tour.
I see. So you're linking the learning directly to the tech use.
Right, making it intentional rather than just, say, random YouTube videos. Intentionality, that's the key word the source keeps coming back to.
Intentionality, got it. And the final piece, well-being. How does the source define that in this digital context?
Well, being as the source sees it is pretty holistic. It covers physical health, mental health, social connections, emotional regulation, the whole picture.
Right.
And it points out some clear links. We know excessive screen time, especially late at night, messes with sleep.
Who's tapping?
And constant connectivity can sometimes interfere with that crucial face-to-face family time or, fuel anxiety or comparison via social media.
Though it probably mentions positive connections too.
Oh, yes. It explores both sides, the risks and the potential benefits for connection that tech offers.
Right.
But fundamentally, it suggests prioritizing well-being means consciously making space for offline activities.
Like physical play, getting outside.
Exactly. Time in nature, focused family chats, creative stuff, making sure the digital doesn't just squeeze everything else out.
So it sounds like the big takeaway from the source is that this balance isn't like a fixed point you find once.
Not at all. It's a continuous adjustment, a constant recalibration based on the family's specific needs and goals at that moment.
Okay.
So wrapping up this deep dive into the source, the core message seems to be Parenting in the digital age isn't about fighting technology.
Right.
It's about integrating it thoughtfully, purposefully, taking a whole picture approach that juggles screen time management, seeks real learning opportunities, and always safeguards the family's well-being.
Less rigid rules, more.
Healthy.
Healthy habits and open communication.
Precisely. It really shifts the perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, the source's emphasis on, conscious integration over just limitation, it suggests something powerful.
Which is?
That maybe our goal shouldn't just be restricting the bad stuff, but actively cultivating a really positive, healthy relationship with technology. For our kids, and frankly, for ourselves too.
That's a great point. And that leads us perfectly to our final thought for you, drawing right from this source's theme of dynamic balance.
Yeah.
How might shifting your focus away from simply managing screen time minutes and towards actively cultivating digital well-being and seeking out those purposeful learning opportunities, how might that truly transform your family's entire relationship with technology?
Something to really think about.